You have something important to do. You know it's important. You've known for days, and yet here you are, checking your phone, reorganizing your desk, doing literally anything else, telling yourself you'll start in 10 minutes, then an hour, then tomorrow. And the worst part? You're not lazy. You care deeply about this thing. You want to do it. You just can't seem to start. Here's what nobody tells you. Procrastination has nothing to do with time management. It's not a productivity problem. It's a psychology problem. And once you understand what's actually happening in your brain, everything changes. Welcome to MindFrame Lab, where we decode human behavior. Procrastination affects almost everyone. Studies suggest that around 20% of adults are chronic procrastinators, and up to 95% of people admit to procrastinating at least occasionally. It costs careers, relationships, health, and countless hours of unnecessary guilt and stress. But here's what the research actually shows. Procrastination is not a character flaw. It is an emotion regulation strategy, and understanding why your brain uses it is the first step to breaking free from it. For decades, psychologists studied procrastination as a time management issue. The solution was always more planners, better schedules, stricter deadlines, and yet none of it really worked for most people. Then researchers like Dr. Piers Steele and Dr. Fushia Siroa started looking deeper. What they found changed everything. Procrastination is not about avoiding the task. It's about avoiding the negative emotions associated with the task. Think about it. When you procrastinate, what are you actually running from? Usually it's one of these: fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of not being good enough, overwhelming anxiety about where to even start, or a deep discomfort with uncertainty. Your brain's primary job is not to make you productive. Its primary job is to protect you from pain. And if starting that task feels emotionally threatening, even unconsciously, your brain will find a way to avoid it. The procrastination is not the problem, it's the symptom. The real problem is the emotional discomfort underneath. To understand why this happens neurologically, we need to talk about two parts of your brain. The first is the limbic system, the emotional, instinctive part of your brain. It operates in the present moment. It wants comfort now. It avoids pain now. It has no interest in your long-term goals. The second is the prefrontal cortex, the rational, planning part of your brain. This is where your intentions live, your goals, your ambitions, your understanding of consequences. When you procrastinate, these two systems are in conflict. The limbic system detects emotional discomfort and pulls you toward relief. Social media, food, anything that feels good right now. The prefrontal cortex knows you should work, but it loses the battle. And here's the cruel irony. Avoiding the task doesn't make the emotional discomfort go away. It actually amplifies it. Every hour you don't start, the guilt grows. The anxiety grows. The task gets bigger in your mind, which makes it even harder to start, which makes you avoid it more. Neuroscientists call this the procrastination loop. And once you're in it, your brain chemistry actively works against you. So how do you actually break out of the loop? The first strategy is to identify the emotion, not the task. Before you try to force yourself to work, ask, what am I actually feeling right now? Anxious? Overwhelmed? Afraid of failing? Name it. Research shows that naming an emotion reduces its intensity in the brain by activating the prefrontal cortex, the same part you need to actually start working. The second strategy is to shrink the starting point. Your brain doesn't resist doing the work. It resists the idea of doing all the work. So instead of telling yourself, I need to write this report, tell yourself, I'm going to write one sentence. Instead of, I need to work out for an hour, tell yourself, I'm going to put on my shoes. The goal is not to trick yourself. The goal is to lower the emotional cost of starting to almost zero, because starting is the hardest part. Once you begin, momentum usually takes over. The third strategy is to address a self-compassion. This sounds counterintuitive, but research by Dr. Kristin Neff shows that people who are kinder to themselves after procrastinating are actually less likely to procrastinate again. Why? Because self-criticism increases the emotional pain associated with the task, making it even harder to approach next time. Self-compassion breaks the shame cycle that fuels chronic procrastination. Procrastination is not evidence that you're lazy or broken or incapable. It's evidence that your brain is trying to protect you from something that feels threatening, even if that threat isn't real. The path forward is not more discipline, it's more self-awareness, understanding what emotion is driving the avoidance, lowering the cost of starting, and treating yourself with the same patience you would offer someone you care about. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to begin. If this video helped you understand yourself a little better, subscribe to MindFrame Lab. We decode human behavior every week. See you in the next one.